more than a goodnight kiss in this day and age, I guess.
Well, first on people. Anyway, with us today is Dr. Derek Antel. He's a plastic surgeon. He's worked with teen patients. We also have psychologist Dr. Michelle Callahan, and also two young ladies planning their prom, Jody Goldberg and Brittany Icavone. Hi, guys.
So, doctor, do we get it right there? What are you seeing? Are you seeing boob jobs? What's the number one thing people are coming in for?
Well, it's very interesting, Mike. It depends on the age group, and certainly in this age group, people come in and they want to look as good as they can, particularly for their prom. So it might be something like pinning their ears back because they want to wear their hair up.
I can see that.
Liposuction under the chin.
Wait, pinning their ears back cosmetically?
Yes. Well, some people have very prominent ears, and they've always worn their hair down and hid it. If you want to wear your hair up for a wedding or a prom, you have to have the ear pinned back. It'll be very prominent still. And nasal surgery traditionally is done in that age group.
I understand, though, that more and more now teens are starting to do the Restylane shots, and that's basically that. It's a shot that encourages the production of collagen.
Yes, that's
correct.
Right? What happens is Restylane is a filler. So if you want to put it along the edge of the lip, you can make it look a little bit crisper. In an older population, it's put in these folds over here.
But doctor, these are 16, 17, 18-year-old young women. Their parents have to have the permission. Well, I guess an 18-year-old doesn't have to have permission. But where do you draw the line?
Well, I think that sometimes Mother Nature doesn't always get it right. But what we want to do is make sure that the parents get it right in terms of talking about plastic surgery with their teenagers.
Yeah.
And the thing to do is, first of all, be sure that you select a board-certified plastic surgeon. But I try to act as the voice of reason for these people. We want to be sure that it's a consistent complaint, that it's not their breasts one day, their chin the next. And we want to be sure that they're in good health and be able to have the operation.
But Dr. Michelle, how when you're 16 years old, do you have the maturity and capability? Do you feel, and I guess, doctor, you can also answer this as well, to be making these types of decisions for your own body?
I don't think they do. And I want to be the voice of reason in that sense and saying, you know what? Kids' self-esteem is all over the place. They're up one day and down the next. One day you're in love, you break up, and you think it's the end of the world, and you feel differently several months later. And it's the same way with how you feel about how you look. That changes over time.
But doctor, if you got a big old honking nose, maybe, you know, I mean, that's what God gave you, but your ears are sticking out, well, you know, and your hair's hanging over you. Wouldn't that help your self-esteem to fix it? Pin them
I don't
back?
think we should define self-esteem only by how you look on the outside. I think we have to encourage. Encourage young people to find other sources of self-esteem, and I think they should just be a little bit older, be more settled within themselves, because their self-esteem is just, they're on an emotional roller coaster.
So Jody and Brittany, do you find that kids in your class are going and getting plastic surgeries and cosmetic surgeries and things like that?
There are some who are.
What are they getting, Jody?
Nose jobs.
Yeah.
You always have the ones who are getting their boobs done.
Yeah.
Yes.
And how young is the youngest that you've seen getting a boob job?
Probably 16, 17.
Is that typical?
That's really not typical, actually, unless there's a reconstructive problem where one breast is a C cup and the other one is an A cup. But we all recognize how plastic surgery can buoy the spirit. You know, if you put a nice tie on, Mike, you feel better about yourself. And if you have a nice blouse on, you just look good and you appreciate a compliment.
But you're not going to put me under to put my Tom's pink tie on.
No, that's true. But
and you can change your shirt back and you can change your hair back. What we're talking about is making a surgical change that's permanent, and a young person may not be mature enough to know they want to do that.
Well, that's why it's important to get the parents on board, make sure that they understand, because ultimately they have to be part of the decision. If the teenager doesn't want to do it and the parent does, we won't do that operation. So there's really dialogue. Sometimes I'll separate them and talk to them independently to really assess things. We want to be good doctors first.
But I guess the point of this whole